Good day, everyone. We are the Group 6 and we are here to present our quantitative research entitled A Comparative Research Between Blue Ternate and Pumpkin Seed as an Effective Treatment for Sleep Deprived. This will be discussed by KRISTINE GARCIA, Rachel Faith MONDEJAR, Ashley NICART, RALF REYES, and John K. MANAHAN. Sleep deprived is a major problem that affects physical and mental health of the people. It is a general term to describe a state caused by inadequate quantity or quality of sleep, including involuntary and voluntary sleeplessness. Sleep is as important to the human body as food and water, but many of us don't get enough sleep. More than half of adults worldwide report they get less sleep than they need on an average night. And 80% of adults say they are using weekend days to make up for sleep loss during the week. Many students, teachers, and other people are experiencing lack of sleep, which is not good to their physical and mental health. It can make a person who is sleep deprived to work unproductive. The main objective of this research is first is to help the people to have an healthy lifestyle despite of their poor sleeping behavior. Second is to help our country to lessen and decrease the death percentage caused by sleep deprived. Third is to help our student, teacher, and other worker to be active and work productively. And lastly is to help our country increase our economy.
The purpose of the study. This paper aims to know if blue ternate and pumpkin seed is effective treatment for sleep deprived. This research will help the students, teachers, and employers because many people have difficulty in sleeping because of the anxiety and stress due to the threat of pandemic in our lives. This research can be done even at home because there are many benefits that we can get in blue ternate and pumpkin seed made into tea. This research can help also the future researchers if they conduct this research. The three parts of the study. First, objective of the study. The part 2 is the statement of the problem, and the part 3 is the data presentation.
The objective of the researchers is to know if the blue ternate, pumpkin seed, and the mixture of blue ternate and pumpkin seed will become an effective treatment for sleep deprived, and to know if there is a significant difference among the result of pumpkin seed, blue ternate, and the mixture of blue ternate and pumpkin seed.
So now, let's go to the statement of the problem. We have 5 questions. The first one is, how does the blue ternate act as a treatment in terms of its amount? The second is, how does the pumpkin seed act as a treatment in terms of its amount? The third one is, how does the mixture of blue ternate and pumpkin seeds act as a treatment in terms of their amount? The fourth is there a significant difference among the result of blue ternate, pumpkin seeds, and mixture of both blue ternate and pumpkin seeds product? And lastly is, how effective is the blue ternate, pumpkin seed, and the mixture of both pumpkin seed and blue ternate as a treatment for sleep deprived? So here's the set of the study. The researcher conduct 5 sets, which is set A, set B, set C, set D, and set E. So in set A contains 6 pieces leaves of blue ternate, while in set B is 10 pieces leaves of blue ternate. In set C contains 1.5 tablespoon of pumpkin seed, while in set D is 2.5 tablespoon of pumpkin seed. Lastly is the set E, contains 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seed and 5 pieces leaves of blue ternate. So next is the documentation during the experiment and the result of the experiment. So now let's have the data presentation will be started by John K. MANAHAN.
Research question number 1. The blue ternate acts as a treatment for sleep deprived in terms of its amount. The researcher conduct an experiment that have 2 sets of blue ternate. The first set contains 6 pieces leaves of blue ternate while the other set contains 10 pieces of leaves. The researcher observed the blue ternate tea to see the different result in terms of their odor, color, texture, and taste. The first set has a mixture of a faint smell of acid and unique sense of the dried tea leaves. Despite of its smell, it has a fascinating and unique color of navy blue and has a smooth and silky texture. Lastly, the researcher tastes the product and it has a taste just like water, or in other words, it is tasteless. Next, the researcher observed the second set that contained 10 pieces leaves of blue ternate. This set has a stronger smell of acid but it still has a unique scent of dry leaves. In terms of its color and texture, it has a darker color of blue but it still have a smooth and silky texture. In spite of the fact that tea has a sweet and relaxing taste. So based on the research, as the amount of blue ternate increases, it becomes sweet and delicious. The researcher noted that this tea is effective since it relaxes our mind and body, which has a good help for the people to easily sleep.
How does the pumpkin seeds act as a treatment in terms of the amount of pumpkin seeds? The researcher conducted two sets of pumpkin seed. The first one contained 1 1/2 tablespoon of pumpkin seed, while the other one contained 2 1/2 tablespoons. In terms of their odor, color, texture, and taste, the first set has a plain and unscented smell, which is different to other tea, like green tea. Despite of its odorless, it has a light color of matcha green and a smooth texture. Then lastly, the researcher tastes the perfect and it has sweet and delicious taste. Next, the researcher observed the second set that contains 2 1/2 tablespoon of pumpkin seed. It has also odorless but have a darker color of matcha green and has a taste of sweet but bland taste of dominant the tea.
Question number 3. How does the mixture of glutamate and pumpkin seed acts as a treatment in terms of its amount? The researchers first observed the experiment to see and find their quality in terms of their odor, taste, texture, and color. The mixture of the glutamate and pumpkin seed acts as a treatment for sleep deprived in terms of the quantity. In the table shown, the number of glutamate and pumpkin seed has 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seed and 5 pieces of glutamate. The odor is smell of this mixture has a dominant smell of glutamate. Color, this has a color of blue sky. And the texture, it has a smooth and soft texture. And the taste complement each other, but the taste of glutamate dominate it.
Research question number 4. How significant is the difference among the result of blue ternate, pumpkin seed, and mixture of both blue ternate and pumpkin seed? So as you can see, that this is the first table which contains the blue ternate. So we have set A and set B, the difference and the square of difference. So as you can see, the set A contains 3.4, 3.8, 4.4, and 3.2, while in set B contains 2, 3.4, 4.8, and 4.4. To get the difference, we subtract set A and set B. So 3.4 minus 2 is equals to 1.4, while the next row is 3.8 minus 3.4 is equals to 0.4. The next row is 4.8 minus 4.4 is equals to 0.4. And lastly is 4.4 minus 3.2 is equals to 1.2. To get the square of difference is, we need to square the difference. So 1.4 squared is equals to 1.96. Then 0.4 squared is equals to 0.16. Same goes to the next row. And lastly is 1.2 squared is equals to 1.21. So next the researcher get the sum of each row of each column. So the sum of set A is equals to 14.8, and the sum of set B is equals to 14.6. The sum in difference is 3.4, and lastly is the sum of the square of difference is equals to 3.49. Next, we get the mean of the sum. So we get the average of each column. So 3.4 in the set A, in the set B is 3.65, in the difference is 0.85, and lastly, the difference squared is equals to 0.8725. So n is equals to 4, and our degrees of freedom is equals to 3. To get the degrees of freedom, the formula is n minus 1. So we substitute the value of n, which is 4, minus 1 is equals to 3. So next is, we use the 95% of confidence level. As you can see, below is the T table. So we look for the row of 3, which is our degrees of freedom, and the 95% of confidence level. So since we are using two tails, so we have to look for the column of 0.05. So get the intersection of 3 and 0.05, which is 3.182. That's our critical value. Next is, under the T table is the formula to get the T value. So T is equals to the summation of D over the square root of n summation of D squared minus summation of D all over n minus 1. To get the T value of the first table, we have to substitute the value of summation of D, which is 3.4, divided by the value of n, which is 4, and the summation of D, which is 3.49. So now we have this equation, 3.4 divided by the square root of 4 times 3.49 minus 3.4 all over 4 minus 1. So it is equals to 3.4 all over the square root of 10.56 divided by 3, which is 1.81. So our T value is equals to 1.81. So using the Venn graph, we shaded the part, which is the rejection part, and since our critical value is negative 3.182 and 3.182, so since our T table is less than to 3.182, these do not reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, the blue ternate product as a treatment for sleep deprived is effective. So now we have the second table, which is the pumpkin seeds. Contains also 5 columns, but the 4 column contains set C, set D, the difference, and the difference squared. So in set C, contains 2.6, 3.8, 3.4, and lastly is 3.4. While in set D contains 1.8, 2.8, 4.4, and 2.4. So to get the difference, we have to subtract set C and set D. So 2.6 minus 1.8 is equals to 0.8. The next row is 3.8 minus 2.8 is equals to 1. And the next row again, we have 4.4 minus 3.4 is equals to 1. And lastly is 3.4 minus 2.4 is equals to 1 again. So to get the difference squared, we have to square the difference, which is 0.8 squared is equals to 0.64. The next one is 1 squared is equals to 1. Same goes to the next row. And lastly is the 1 squared is equals to 1 also. So to get the sum, we have to get the sum of each column. So in set C, the sum is 13.2, while in set D is 11.4. In the difference, it is 3.8, while in the difference squared is 3.64. So to get the mean, we have to divide the sum by 4, since we also have 4 samples. So our mean in set C is 3.3, while in set D is 2.85, in difference is 0.95, and in the difference squared is 0.91. So, to get the t-value of the second table, we have to use the formula of t. So, t is equal to the summation of d all over the square root of n times the summation of d squared minus summation of d all over n minus 1. So, we have to substitute the value of summation of d, which is 3.4, divide by the square root of n, which is our value is 4, times the summation of d squared, which is 3.64, minus 3.8 all over 4 minus 1. So now we have the equation of 3.4 divided by the square root of 10.76 all over 3. So our t value for the second table is equals to 2.006. So we have our critical value of negative 3.182 and 3.182. So we need to see if our t value is greater than or less than our critical value to know if our null hypothesis is rejected or not. So we have our t value, which is 2.006. Since 2.006 is less than to 3.182, this is not rejected the null hypothesis. Therefore, the pumpkin seed product as a treatment for sleep deprived is effective. So now, we go to the table 3, which is mixture of Ternate and pumpkin seed. So it is also have 5 columns, but the 4 column contains set E, post test, difference, and difference squared. So in set E contains 5, 4.8, 3.8, and 3.2, while in post test contains 4 row of 0. So next we have to get the difference, which is set E minus post test. So 5 minus 0 is equals to 5. Next is 4.8 minus 0 is equals to 4.8. Then the next row is 3.8 minus 0 is equals to 3.8. And lastly, 3.2 minus 0 is equals to 3.2. So to get the difference squared, we have to square the difference. So 5 squared is equals to 25. 4.4 squared is equals to 23.0304. Next is 3.8 squared is equals to 14.4. And lastly is 3.2 squared is equals to 10.24. So we have to get the sum of each column. So the sum of set E is 16.8. While in post test, since we have 4 0 columns, so our sum is equals to 0. While in the difference, we have the sum of 16.8, while in the difference is 72.72. So now we have to get the mean. To get the mean, we have to divide our sum by 4 since we have, again, 4 sample. So the mean of set E contains 4.2, while in post test 0. Next is 4.2 in difference, while in difference squared is 18.18. So we have to get the t value of table 3. So we are using the formula of t again. So t is equals to the summation of d all over the square root of n times the summation of d squared minus the summation of d all over n minus 1. So we have to substitute the value of the summation of d, which is 16.8, divided by the square root of n, which is 4. And the summation of d squared is equals to 72.72 minus 16.8 divided by 4 minus 1. So now our equation will be 3.4 divided by the square root of 274.08 divided by 3, which is equals to 1.76. So our t value now is equals to 1.76. Since our critical value again is 3.182 and negative 3.182. So We also need to see if the t-value is greater than or less than our critical value to see if it is rejected or not. So, our value of t is equals to 1.76, which is less than to 3.182. So, these do not reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, the mixture of glutarate and pumpkin seeds product as a treatment for sleep deprived is effective.
Statement of the problem, question number 5. Based on the computation in statement number 4, the null hypothesis is do not reject. So, the glutamate is effective treatment for sleep deprived based on the test experiments of the data that we have collected. And also, the pumpkin seed is effective treatment for sleep deprived based on this test, result, experiment, and the data that we have gathered. And lastly, the mixture of glutamate and pumpkin seed is effective treatment for sleep deprived based on the test, results, and the data that we have gathered.
Lack of quality sleep can affect a person's performance in school or work. Almost 30% of people suffer from insomnia or inability to fall asleep. Some say that tea is one of the good drinks to make a person fall asleep faster, like a herbal tea. It has a good benefit to our mind and health. The experiment and data that were used to produce an accurate result regarding to comparative study on the effectiveness of glutarate, pumpkin seed, and mixture of glutarate and pumpkin seed product. Pumpkin seeds and the powder from pumpkin seed have the relatively high amount of the amino acid tryptophan. Tryptophan is the amino acid the body uses to make the feel-good and relaxation neurotransmitter serotonin. Pumpkin seed also contain high amount of zinc, which can help the brain convert tryptophan into serotonin. Serotonin levels are typically low in people who cannot stay asleep and wake throughout the night. The concept of effectiveness of glutarate, pumpkin seed, and mixture of glutarate and pumpkin seed product proved to be successful as a treatment for sleep deprived. The resulting product can be used to people to have a healthy lifestyle.
Recommendation: the concept of effectiveness of glutamate and pumpkin seed made into tea is effective treatment for sleep deprived. And also, the mixture of glutamate and pumpkin seed proved to be successful and effective result as a treatment for sleep deprived. With this kind of experiment, it is budget friendly and it is easy to do even if you are at home. It can be done by people who have difficulty in sleeping. And it is safe to do based on the result of our experiment. Glutamate and pumpkin seed have many benefits and healthy benefits for our body.